Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Um, Today we have gotten to the R in father, discussing this from a point of view of fathers against threats, hatred, envy, and retaliation. Today we've gotten to the R, retaliation, and we want to look at what that looks like and how it affects the relationship between father and child or children. Retaliation is oftentimes um, seen when the child or father defy expectations of um, are broken down in the relationship. So when the relationship between father and child is is expected or being um, encouraged or quote unquote forced, if you will, to break, keeping father from child, child from father, so forth and so on. When that expectation is not met and father and child forge a bond, forge a relationship, or when child finds out that this is what's being done and in some form of rebellion against that, um, forges relationship with uh, father, we can see where that will lead to some form of retaliation from mom or others who have responsibility or a say so in the child's life. And that retaliation oftentimes take many forms. First is often almost uh, doing further things to keep the child away. Um, this retaliation also comes about when um, the child starts to express the joys of being with that father to the other parent, the mother, and there are other people in the family who does not want to see the child with their father. So that joy for the child turns into despair for those who didn't want to see the child with the father. Again, this is part of that trauma that we suffer from. I often refer to in my previous video the post traumatic slave syndrome that we're suffering from for over 400 years. And I am not purporting that these things are deliberately being done. In some cases, I'm sure they are. In a lot of cases, it might not be deliberate, but it does happen. And when it does happen, it has a wide ranging impact on not just the child, the father as well, the mother as well, and it perpetuates a cycle that we're trying to break. So, us as fathers against threats, hatred, envy, and retaliation won't be cowered by the threat of retaliation or by even actual retaliation. We are going to stand up and demand, by any means necessary, that we be present and prominent in our child's life, our children's life. The family unit, the family structure is one that we are intent on rebuilding, and we will stop at nothing to ensure that our family structure returns to where it was prior to the slave trade that purposefully set out to break us apart, keeping the father away from the family, keeping the kids away from mother and father because of whatever prowess they may have developed. And this has seeped into our consciousness over hundreds of years. And now we begin to live like that freely without even knowing that this is exactly what we are doing. Maybe we do know in some cases. My point, as fathers, we're not standing for that anymore. We will do what is necessary to make sure that we are fathers who stand against threats, hatred, envy, and retaliation. We want to create a safe space for all the fathers out there who are facing these and other issues with their children and don't feel the support or the desire to fight on. We're creating a safe space for that. We're creating an atmosphere where we can freely discuss issues that we face collectively and individually, similarly and dissimilarly, to forge an end to this mean cycle of absentee fathers. And again, this is not saying anything against women. This is not saying anything for those men who want to be absentee fathers. This is saying that every child deserves to be loved, protected, and cared for by both parents, with the father being the head of that family. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you very much for your time watching and listening. I thank you very much for sharing and caring. And please do subscribe. After today, we will go to a weekly discussion now that we have addressed each letter of the word Father. I look forward to you joining us as we continue. Have a blessed day, ladies and gentlemen. Be well. Thank you.